Well, hello. Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Stalker Watcher channel. I'm doing a bit of a new thing. It's called Readings of the Criminal Code. I think that we all should become versed in these matters because, nobody's going to tell us. So I am starting with the Canadian Bill of Rights, and it's 1985, I guess application, I don't know what that is, APP.3. So I'm going to read to you directly from the Criminal Code regarding the Canadian Bill of Rights. Now, the preamble says, the Parliament of Canada affirming that the Canadian nation is founded upon principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God, the dignity and worth of the human person, and the position of the family in a society of free men and free institutions, affirming also that men and institutions remain free only when freedom is founded upon respect for moral and spiritual values and the rule of law, and being desirous of enshrining these principles and the human rights and fundamental freedoms derived from them in a Bill of Rights which shall reflect the respect of Parliament for its constitutional authority, and which shall ensure the protection of these rights and freedoms in Canada. Therefore, Her Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate and House of Commons of Canada, enacts as follows: Part 1, Bill of Rights, SS 1 to 4. Recognition 1. Recognition and declaration of rights and freedoms. It is hereby recognized and declared that in Canada there have existed and shall continue to exist without discrimination by reason of race, national origin, color, religion, or sex, the following human rights and fundamental freedoms, namely A, the right of the individual to life, liberty, security of the person, and enjoyment of property, and the right not to be deprived thereof except by due process of law. B, the right of the individual to equality before the law and the protection of the law. C, freedom of religion. D, freedom of speech. E, freedom of assembly and association, and F, freedom of the press. All right, number 2, construction of law. Every law of Canada shall, unless it is expressly declared by an act of the Parliament of Canada that it shall operate notwithstanding the Canadian Bill of Rights, be so construed and applied as not to abrogate, abridge, or infringe, or to authorize the abrogation, abridgment, or infringement of any of the rights or freedoms herein recognized and declared, and in particular, no law of Canada shall be construed or applied so as to A, authorize or effect the arbitrary detention, imprisonment, or excuse me, a little frog in my throat there. Sorry, let's start again. So as to A, authorize or effect the arbitrary detention, imprisonment, or exile of any person. B. Impose or authorize the imposition of cruel and unusual treatment or punishment. C. Deprive a person who has been arrested or detained, small one, of the right to be informed promptly of the reason for his arrest or detention. Number 2, of the right to retain and instruct counsel without delay. Or 3, of the remedy by way of habeas corpus for the determination of the validity of his detention and for his release if the detention is not lawful. D. Authorize a court, tribunal, commission, board, or other authority to compel a person to give evidence if he is denied counsel, protection against self-crimination, or other constitutional safeguards. E. Deprive a person of the right to a fair hearing in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice for the determination of his rights and obligations. F. Deprive a person charged with a criminal offense of the right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to law in a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal, or of the right to reasonable bail without just cause. Or G. Deprive a person of the right to the assurance of an interpreter in any proceedings in which he is involved or in which he is a party or a witness before a court, commission, board, or other tribunal, if he does not understand or speak the language in which such proceedings are conducted. Now, underneath that is part 3, which is to do with the duties of the Minister of Justice. At the end of that, if things are found to be inconsistent with the purposes and provisions on this part, he shall report any such inconsistency to the House of Commons at the first convenient opportunity. All right. Now, that is the gist of the Bill of Rights, the Canadian Bill of Rights, and what the rule of Canadian law is supposed to be, and what it is supposed to be founded on, and what makes us a democratic society. Indeed, thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned something.